First, you know, your darkest moments may be darker than mine, or maybe, my lowest moments are worse than yours. But regardless, I'ma start with sharing my own story first. And I promise you, the things I did, like throughout my experiences, the way I overcame my lowest moments, that will also be able to apply to you in a way you can overcome your darkest moments. And even if you're not, at a rock bottom right now, bro, it is going to come, bro. It is going to happen. This is a reality of this world. And if you do not, be careful, like you will lose yourself. So I'm gonna start with sharing like my stories so you can connect to it, resonate with it. And so just try to understand me here. And as men, especially as men specifically, right? When we think of like our lowest moments, the things that often occur that is mostly the same with every other man is relationships, right? That is typically a man's lowest moment, right? So I'm gonna obviously share like relationships I've been in, how that almost made me lose myself, but thank God it didn't. And you can use the same to overcome any situation. It doesn't matter if it's a relationship or not. But the darkest moment, or a moment that comes to mind right now when I'm thinking of a rock bottom I've hit, was I think 2024, when I was, interested in this girl. And I know a lot of people do not believe in like, love in first sight, but it happened to me, right? This girl, the moment I saw her the first day at work, I fell in love immediately, bro. It's actually crazy, but that was the reality. It happened, right? And the moment that happened, I crushed on her for like few months until it became a year before I could actually get to hang out with her, simply because I was just scared. I was just on the friend zone. But as we started hanging out, dating here and there, it wasn't even official. It was just like a situationship. We started hanging out here and there, but she didn't take me seriously. I didn't know that at the time. I thought like she really liked me at the time, and I was very innocent. I think I was like 18 to 19. I was just about to turn 19. Right now I'm 21. So, we started hanging out, stuff like that. And the more we hung out, the more we chit-chatted, I was getting attacked. It's like every single day, I am falling more and more, deeper and deeper in love, right? So I got attached, and she was sensing that energy, and I was obviously not very matured, because the last time I dated was when I was 12, before that, right? I wasn't very matured, and she could see that, and she would tell me these things. It would piss me off, but I didn't get it, but she was right about everything about me. And she started disrespecting me, didn't take me very seriously, and things like that. And like I said, I was very innocent. All I wanted, like, to happen to me was just to me, was just feeling loved. Like I didn't care about anything else. I didn't, choose out for her body. Like I genuinely loved this girl, right? So, but she didn't take me seriously, and she was a little bit, I'm not sure if she was experienced or not. I didn't ask her those questions. But she's smarter than me, right? She's a little bit older than me, like 3 months. So, I got attached, started hanging out for like 4 months ish, and she started ghosting me here and there. It would break me. Like I would literally cry, as embarrassing as this sounds. Like, people may see me as a tough guy, like, on the internet, because of the type of content I post, mindset and whatnot, doing push-ups. But I'm actually an emotional person. So, on my birthday, this was the lowest moment I remember. It was during my birthday, and the day before my birthday, like I didn't have anyone like close to me. My family members, everyone was busy. Usually we would celebrate birthdays here and there, but at the time she was the only one I had as a close person, basically, besides my friends in high school. But we weren't hanging out that much, we only see each other in school. So for my 19th birthday, I didn't have anyone else, right? And the day before my birthday, like she promised me, oh yeah, tomorrow we will hang out, I'm willing to be your girlfriend for that day, and stuff like that. So I took this, I was excited, I was like, at least somebody's gonna be there for me on my birthday. And during my birthday, she ghosted me. Like She wasn't answering my calls. She blocked me. She even deleted her number from my phone without me even realizing it, you know, without me even taking it seriously. I called her, I did all of these things, and she didn't respond. And that day, I cannot tell you how much pain I was feeling, especially after being attached. And on my birthday, I thought like, this was over. And it was technically right at the moment because she was ghosting me. So she didn't respond. It went on for like, I think 3 days. I was just texting her, calling her, all of these things. And on my birthday, I was crying for the whole freaking day. I had to call my friends to hang out. Thank God they were there for me. And if you're watching this, you guys know each other, right? Shout out to you. And that day was tough. Even after I got back from hanging out with my friends, and I even had to email her. That's how down bad I was. I was a desperate human being too. I'm gonna be honest. I was very desperate, attached. Like, bro, I thought she was my whole life at the moment, right? I thought without her I wouldn't be able to breathe. It literally felt like that. I couldn't sleep for those 4 days. But she reached back out. After a couple of a couple of days. It's because I emailed her. I was like, don't make me pull up to your house, shit like that. Because like I told her some crazy stuff. You know what I mean? But that was my darkest moment. And during that period, I even had a car crash just because of that. That was my first car crash, and I just had my license not long ago. And it wasn't because I couldn't drive. It was just because I was in my head too much, and I was crossing to basically enter to a Wendy's, and then boom, this car hit me because like it was his right way, right? So all of these things were happening to me, and that was my darkest moment. But after that, like I didn't learn that lesson. I still kept going back to her, because after a couple of days, like she reached back out, we started hanging out again. She was still disrespecting me, like walking all over me. I don't blame her for that. I mean, during that time, I was like innocent. I wasn't very matured, I didn't even take myself seriously. Extremely skinny, had all of these bad habits, so it's not a surprise, right? But that cycle kept continuing until the summer of 2024. That is when I decided, you know what? It is time to move on, right? That is when everything started to change, because I realized I had to make this bold move, because like I was tired of my emotions being messed up. Her like showing a little bit love, her pulling back, like she was playing around with me. So I was like done with it. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna make one of the hardest decisions I will ever have to make. And I made it, right? By like just like ending it. I didn't officially tell her like I ended it, but like I just started like having my own purpose too. And I was like, I will make this girl regret her decision, and I did made her regret. And I will share also how I made that regret in the past couple of days. She saw my transformation. I will share that reaction too. It's actually incredible. But that's how it ended. It started to fade away, and she will reach back out here and they're asking me to give her a ride. Sometimes I will go save her. There's one time she had a fight with her friend. I had to go like save her, give her a ride. Even though I was working, I'm a delivery driver and whatnot. So I saved her. And after that, I just started working on myself, because I realized like it's time to focus on myself, right? So I took that decision during that summer. I started locking in. It first started with my fitness, right? I thought like the reason why she didn't like me was because of my, physique. I was wrong. It's part of it, right? It's just part of it. But the moment I started locking in that summer, I was like, by the end of the school, no, not by the end of the school year, but by the time school starts, because I was also going to university, I will make sure like she see me differently, right? And I stuck to that promise, because during that summer, I made a 6-month crazy transformation within 6 months. It's because like, when you're new to the gym, it's so easy to basically, make progress if you're consistent for at least 3 months, simply because like, the new, like they say, the new gains, right? It happens like that. And 6 months, I made like one of my favorite transformation. It's my favorite transformation because of how much of a difference it seems, right? I was extremely skinny, and I just like, packed on a bunch of muscle, right, within a 6-month period. And by the time school started, I wasn't over the breakup still. I wanted to make her regret and things like that. I wanted to basically get her back and things like that. But that didn't happen, right? Because I didn't even see her. The university is so freaking big. So that didn't happen, right? But after that moment, I started like using other girls to basically, fill in that void in my heart, because I was still her. I wasn't still over this breakup. And that also led to a whole different problem, right? But fast forward after that breakup, was it day before yesterday, a couple of days ago, I saw her at the mall. I was wearing a tank top like this, and she was shocked by the way I looked. She was like, damn, you jacked up. She was like, you changed, but I didn't change. You know, she said it that way. And when I saw her, I was extremely confident. You know what I mean? I wasn't stuttering over my words a lot. I didn't care too, because right now I'm not into like, dating and whatnot, because like I just got out of another relationship again. I'm just like focused on myself and my business right now. But after she saw me, she was extremely shocked, bro. I can tell, I can see it on her eyes. Like, she was surprised by the transformation I made, the way I was carrying myself. I asked her to she was working that time right, at the mall. I was like, oh, can you warm my food for me? And we started chit-chatting. She told me she missed me. I didn't show her like any signs that like, I either missed her or like I'm still interested. I didn't show any of that, because like I said, I wasn't even into dating right now, right? And right now I'm a whole different person compared to her, because it's been like a year or two and I've completely transformed my mindset, and everything started with that breakup. And this goes to show you that like your rock bottoms are sometimes what's going to build you, right? You don't have to lose yourself when you're in these ruts. You have to use that as fuel to move forward. Whatever you've been through, all your insecurities, that is a fuel, that is a motivation. And before I thought like I was cursed for experiencing these things, but now I am glad that I went through all of this, because that is what led to my transformation. If I hadn't gone through that breakup and all of these, BS things, I wouldn't have been where I'm at today. So you have to be, I'm not saying like be thankful for your rock bottoms, because like, bro, who wants to be like, down? Nobody, right? But like, use that as fuel. Like, try to fix it. Always realize that there's a solution to every problem. There's a solution to every problem. You can change your life, bro. In 3 to 6 months is enough to completely transform your life. If you lock in, ball to the wall, lock in consistently, I'm telling you, bro, you will make a crazy transformation. Maybe I will add some transformational pictures in these videos. Like, I like to keep these videos raw, but I'll just add the transformational pictures so you can see the difference. I don't know if you can still hear me because of the plane, but like, I cannot tell you how good it felt, her complimenting my physique and her like being nervous around me. And I did something messed up that day to her too. And let me just go straight to the point, right? So during the hangout, not a hangout, because I asked her to warm my food for me, because my our power was down and I wanted to go work out. My food was cold and stuff like that. So I was like, can you warm it for me? She warmed it for me. And as we were walking outside the mall, because she was like, she's gonna escort me to my car, I told her she didn't have to, but we were just yapping a little bit here and there. She came in for a full hug. I rejected that hug, because first of all, like, I'm not into dating, and that is how things start again. I can tell she's still interested, but I rejected her. I rejected that hug. And that was quite embarrassing, because it was in public. It was right at the entrance of one of our biggest malls in our state, right? So everybody could see that, So I just gave her a side hug. She was like, damn, you changed. In my mind, I was like, I mean, that is the whole point, right? But I apologize, for like doing that. I feel like I was a bit of an asshole that day to her. I mean, I did what I gotta do. I'm not interested anymore. I don't know why she will even come for a hug. But this goes to show you that, like, if you've been through a relationship, things like that, if you make a transformation, they will see it. And the best way to get revenge to them is not even by, like, talking negatively to them, is by showing them, bro. Just take action, just transform your life, and people will see it. You won't even need to try hard. And that there was a complete coincidence. You know what I mean? Even though like I wanted to like prove her wrong like a few months ago, but it happened after a year. And if you become successful, the people that have hated on you, the people that have like looked down upon you, called you immature and all of these things, they will see the transformation, they will see the difference. And I'm telling you guys, like, it is the best feeling ever. I cannot tell you how good that felt. Even though I felt bad for the for the hug I rejected upon her, because it's in public, it's kind of messed up. If I could go back, I would just like get closer and be like, I'm sorry, we can't do this. But whatever happens. But I promise you, no matter what you're going through, no matter what you've been through, bro, do not ignore it. Think about it, bro. Think about how painful it would be to be in the same spot that you're on. Make a transformation in your life, bro, and you can do it. If I can do it, and tons of people have done it, right? Do not be one of these guys, who's having suicidal thoughts like I used to have. I'm glad I didn't do it, because I took a chance on myself, right? I realized like it's possible. Other people have done it, then you can too. And This story is uncomfortable for me to put out there. She may see this. I don't know how she will react to this, but I don't care, right? I didn't mention her name or anything like that. Nobody knows. So this is how you gotta think of life, no matter what you've been through. Like, there's this quote that I love, right? From, I forgot the author's name, but one of my favorite content creators always, like, says this: the depth of your struggles determines the height of your success. Man, this quote is so powerful. The depth of your struggle will determine the height of your success. So no matter what struggles you've been through, it is not the end of it. That time is going to pass by regardless. That season is going to pass. And it is up to you to use that as a stepping stone for you to get better. But that is all I have for this video. I want to keep it not too long because my storage always has the habit of getting full so quickly. But that is all I have. Thank you for watching. And if you resonate with this video, like, please drop a like, comment, and most importantly, subscribe. I would really appreciate it. Also, one important thing, on my Instagram, I post my 50 push-ups every single morning at 5:30 a.m. motivating other men, documenting my whole day, talking about how I feel before going to the gym, how I feel after not feeling like working out, how I overcome obstacles throughout the day so you can avoid my mistakes. And I will link that Instagram below, and definitely go check it out. Ask me questions. Like I said, my storage always has the habit of getting full. But anyways, regardless, that is all I have for this video. And I will always leave you guys with this: in a world full of distractions, stay disciplined. Peace.